I'm not sure how to feel about this green Chaos Dwarf scheme. On the one hand, I actually really like it, but on the other hand, it also feels very, very wrong, so maybe it's great, to be honest. But anyway, here we are with another one from Stormrunner, Chaos Dwarfs versus the Ogres, and I'm not sure about the context of this. I'm guessing it's a quick battle, because I don't think this Ogre build is legal, but anyway. Let's take a look at the builds either way. Goblin Laborers, we've got Infernal Guard as well. And it looks like, what, 5 laborers, a couple of Infernal Guard, Bull Centaurs, and Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders on this flank. It looks like 2 of each. We've got some sneaky gits out in the far vanguard and a few more on the left side. Speaking of sneaky vanguard, Gorgers are here, which is a unit that exists ever since they were insanely overpowered at the game's launch. They really have never been the same since, once they were completely whacked with the Nerf bat. But let's see how they do here. I'm genuinely curious. We've got some bulls and man-eater pistols in this kind of mainline area, and Scrag the Slaughterer plus Mornfang with great weapons. So interesting. I mean, very, very interesting builds. I don't really have a lot to say. Probably some Noblars would be beneficial. They tend to trade very well against laborers and can kind of, help win the chaff fight to a degree. Might honestly try and mix in a couple of trappers too, just to help deal with these bull centaurs, but Mornfang Cavalry's anti-large bonus is only going to help them so much as they get absolutely rushed by massive numbers here. Sneaky gits, 2 bull centaur renders. Yeah, that is way too much value for them to handle. That said, Drazoath the Ashen up in the sky here is getting popped by the man-eaters. Does he not have a caster? Oh, that's fine. We've got the Infernal Guards already smacking those bulls in the center, and on the far side, the Gorgers just annihilate the sneaky gits. So that answers the question. The Gorgers do take some pretty significant damage in the process, but I guess they should be getting buffs as long as Scrag is able to stay alive and continue casting spells. He's going to get hit by Dark Subjugation here, though. Minus melee defense, and Drazoath the Ashen with extra weapon strength is just putting a beat down on him. I say putting a beat down. Drazoath himself is also taking some damage from those pistols, but it looks like the Bull Centaur Renders were able to get home on them. Iron Fist, though, responding, and regular Bulls. So we'll see how this situation kind of develops. Meanwhile, the Gorgers coming back from their journey to a degree, trying to get in close on those Infernal Guards, but the Infernal Guards just mow one unit down completely. Let's see here. Yeah, Drazoath suddenly gets hit by the Dismember, and things aren't actually going all that well for him. I think RNG-wise, he's whiffing on some attacks here. Hasn't been able to finish Scrag off. He's definitely doing some damage to him, but we see the Mornfangs coming back there to support, and meanwhile the Gorgers, the one unit that survived a little bit longer, still... It's a rough situation to have a single Gorger try and take out 2 Fireglaves, so their las guns here and bayonets will be just fine for eliminating the Gorgers. They'll be able to get back in service relatively shortly, but yeah, Drazoath, actually the rear charge from the Mornfang routs him, which is most unfortunate for the Chaos Dwarfs. This fight also, slowly but surely, the Bull Centaur Renders are getting ground down. They actually haven't managed to do a lot of damage to the pistol mobs, which is a huge problem, obviously. I mean, they've done some decent damage to them, but not even a quarter HP on either unit. And, well, I take that back. One unit is fully destroyed, but the Man-Eaters actually have good enough stats that, especially once the Bull Centaurs get kind of spread out a little bit, they're going, 2v1 like right here, or 3v1 versus the Ogres. These Man-Eaters will have no problem in smacking the Bull Centaurs around, so yeah, that one falls, no surprise. And slowly but surely, they're going to continue to take such damage. Meanwhile, the last of the Gorgers smacking around those sneaky gits, chasing them off, trying to come back into an effective fighting position. Scrag has been casting some magic, so let's check in. The Gorgers should have some, yeah, a little bit of passive healing, just a tiny bit. And some extra armor piercing damage, really not much. It's one reason why Scrag's not that great, is that Gorger ability doesn't charge up very quickly. Really, you should only need like 3, 4 spell casts maybe to get it fully charged up, just because otherwise, I mean, it really disincentivizes you from using expensive spells, but Scrag makes the mistake of getting anywhere close to the Fire Glaives, he's going to make his charge and then literally immediately rout. And then just die. So there you go. Lesson learned. Fire Glaives are very, very scary. And at this point, it's just going to be Lasgun Defense Dwarf Fortress, if you will. Chaos Dwarf Fortress of rear charges, actually. Here we go. Yeah, the Gorger's in a rear charge. That charge animation sends like half the unit flying in another direction, and is going to probably do some pretty considerable damage just at that moment, too. The Maneater pistols come in range and start counter-shooting. So let's see. This is actually getting a little dicey now for the Fire Glaives. Have to fend off these Gorgers and immediately turn and return fire on the Maneaters. Question is, how long will it take for them to deal with the Gorgers? We do get some clutch Bull Centaurs coming back, distracting the Maneater pistols momentarily, at least eating a few more of the shots so they don't go into the Fire Glaives. One Fire Glaive's just been routed straight up, though, and the Gorgers, of course, being unbreakable, 4 of them even continuing to just disrupt the entire formation there, so of course, never leave a job. I don't know where I was going with that. Goblins getting in here. You don't want to leave a job to a Chaos Dwarf that Goblins can do, right? So the Goblins, being the best at distractions, are going to come in here and then, again, just all immediately rout. And hundreds of them together in unison, just eating shots and fists and, you know, pistol whips and sword smacks from those Maneaters. That one unit just has not been able to get set fire, which... will it be decisive? It's hard to say. It's going to be a true Old West shootout here. Very much looks like southern Utah, the state I live in. Maybe not quite so dramatic on the cliffs, but the colors, red mesas, absolutely spot on for the Old West. And of course, the Fire Glaives with their superior reloading animations certainly gives them an inherent style advantage, but in terms of actual battlefield, they're not doing particularly well in this trade. I mean, they do focus down one unit there and manage to get rid of the one unit of bulls, but they're having to defend and spread their fire out between different targets, which hasn't been wildly effective. Drazowath also coming back at this point, and the Sneaky Gits doing their sneaking, trying to get in close, and again deliver the distraction to these Maneaters. Let's see how they do. Kind of come in from the side so as not to obstruct line of fire as much as possible. Maneater stats is superior enough that I don't think they'll have much of a problem here, but you never know. Numbers of Goblin units sometimes, that high model count, can be pretty important. Oh no, what am I talking about? Drazowath is a caster. I was thinking of the other guy. I don't even know, guys. It's been a long time since I've really thought about the Chaos Dwarfs, like, actively, to be honest. Jatan, that's the guy I'm thinking of. Yeah, Drazowath is a caster. Don't listen to me. What do I know? I'm just a silly YouTuber. And a land battles YouTuber at that. Anyway. Yeah, the Fire Glaives managed to hold their leadership together. Drazowath is going to bravely sacrifice himself straight into the teeth here so they can get a few more shots. Sneaky Gits get a nice little rear charge in there. The poison, will it affect it? It's hard to say. Does Drazowath actually survive? I highly doubt it. Well, maybe. Oh, but if he goes down here... oh, he barely survives. 40 HP. Wow. Lucky guy. Manages to squeak away there. No effect on leadership for... Chaos Dwarfs. The Fire Glaives, I don't know. I think they probably would have won there, but it's possible if Drazowath just straight up dies that they, like, just all army loss and rout. It's possible, certainly, but ends up being insanely close. Yeah, the Fire Glaives are so strong in this matchup. It's almost a unit that kind of defines this matchup in a way, in my opinion, just because they are so strong. You really have to kind of plan for them in some way or another. Whether that be through magic, you don't have a lot of options, but there are some. Yeah, not really much. You know, shock damage is probably going to be your best bet, or, you know, counter range damage also. If you want to try and outshoot the Chaos Dwarfs, can be tricky at times. Certainly here, the Maneater pistols were almost able to do so, but just some other factors kind of interfering, which is how the battles go, right? That's why you don't necessarily want to take too much from testing videos, but that's a discussion entirely for another day. Let's stick to things as they are. Yeah, Gorgers, I'm actually impressed. One of them managed to pay for themselves. I think as kind of a Vanguard flanker into an expensive kind of ranged unit, armored ranged unit like this, very niche application certainly, but yeah, I mean, ultimately I guess they weren't tactically successful, but the value seems pretty good. Yeah. The Mornfang Cavalry also getting a bunch of damage on Drazoath. Despite taking that bad engagement initially, they are able to get some value back. Of course, Volset are great weapons, another great unit in this matchup. Sneaky gets surprisingly clutch there in the late game, just providing extra models and kind of stability there for leadership and so forth. Definitely an interesting one, so hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.